Wikipedia is a pretty cool resource. It's a pretty cool idea, but just like everything else in society, Wikipedia is vulnerable to colonization by cultural Marxism. I'm going to give you a strong example of how this occurs. So, the New York Times, the Washington Post, all of the other, completely compromised bullshit news sources that are out there, we know that they're biased and slanted. We know that the people that write for them follow a cultural Marxist agenda. We know that they're anti-white, anti-Christian, anti-conservative, anti-right wing, etc., etc. Wikipedia has a policy called reliable sources. If you try to post material on a Wikipedia page that has any kind of political, cultural, or social content, there are going to be some social justice warriors who are going to flag your shit and take your edits down. The way that they're going to justify it is they're going to say that your sources are unreliable, that they're fringe, that they're conspiracy theories, etc., etc. And they're basically only going to allow you to post material that comes from one of those sources that's hopelessly biased. I have had this happen to me personally with fairly uncontroversial stuff. And if they can't do it with that, then they'll find some other abuse of the rules. Basically, they'll say that you're adding too much material that is primary material, even though they quote primary material at length. And this is basically why I stopped doing edits to Wikipedia. Because even though I like the resource and I think it's useful and cool and a good method and all that, it's completely vulnerable and to this kind of colonization, and it has been colonized. So if you want to try to make it more fair, more balanced, more informative, rather than just pushing a specific agenda, you better damn well do it in concert with a bunch of other people. Because if it's just you versus 3 or 4 of these other guys, the editors are just going to completely overrule you. So it doesn't really, if you go look at certain stories and certain subject matter and stuff, things that people on the right wing like always talk about and know very well factually and statistically and historically and everything else, a lot of times their Wikipedia pages aren't very good, even though that information's out there and it's readily available. The reason why those pages aren't any good is because people on the right don't have any incentive to work hard on Wikipedia because it's such an uphill battle. So these are the experiences that I've had with Wikipedia, and just another way in which the cultural Marxism that controls the news and the rest of the media have many, many further effects that go down the road. Like the New York Times is a piece of shit, and it has a lot of really shitty news stories, and the news stories that it writes are slanted, etc., etc. Okay, well, just because you don't read it doesn't mean that that doesn't have all these cascading effects down through the rest of society. If you think about something like movie reviews, right? So there's a couple of critics who are the movie critics for the New York Times, and they write reviews. Well, all of the people at smaller papers and different outlets and blogs and stuff all over the country take the reviews that come out of the New York Times pretty seriously, or they at least react to them in some way. So even if you don't read the reviews that come out of the New York Times, if you read some other kind of movie review, it's probably the case that the critic that wrote that piece was influenced by the other one. So anyhow, this is, I guess this is like the black pill of Wikipedia. I don't know. I don't see any way out of it. A lot of people have tried to create alternative wikis to add their kind of material on, and those are kind of good. But for factual matters, for like scientific material or anything like that, you can go to Wikipedia and get some really good stuff for free. So it's just really unfortunate that the same people who might go there for basic, factual matters, if they go to look for some other thing, then, they're just going to get completely misled. They're not even going to be able to get two sides of the issue. So thank you for your time.